Welcome to yet another episode of These Take. These Take have been talking about quite a lot of issues in the past. The first two episodes were on domestic debt and the blueprint respectively. Well, today I want to talk about a sovereign wealth fund, and These Takes focus will be on economic governance. So economic governance has been covering most of the issues we've been talking about, and we're going to continue to talk on these issues. But like I said, today the topic will center around sovereign wealth fund. Some people will ask, why a sovereign wealth fund? Well, every country that has natural resources need a sovereign wealth fund. Why do we need a sovereign wealth fund? We're going to have proceeds out of these natural resources. And we want to have an investment vehicle whereby these funds will be invested. And we need to do that because these are depletable assets. Oil and gas are depletable assets. And if we sell all the oil that this country has, and we spend it on our generation, subsequent generations of Gambians will not have nothing to inherit from what this country has in offer for them. Therefore, the time has come for Gambia to establish a sovereign wealth fund. Basically, what a sovereign wealth fund does is proceeds of either central bank reserves or proceeds of the sale of natural resources go into these funds. And these funds have different investment purposes. They have short-term, medium-term, long-term investment purposes, and also a risk profile. What kind of risk are we willing to take in terms of exposing the proceeds of this sale to? I mean, it can be high risk, it can be low risk, it can be medium risk. But the long and short of it is the Gambia needs to establish a sovereign wealth fund. This sovereign wealth fund will allow the country to invest monies, and these monies will be used for subsequent generations of Gambians, i.e., 100 years from now, that when, an infant is born, conceived, will have monies, and these monies are not meant for their personal use, but it will be reinvested into social things like schools, hospitals, and also creating opportunities for these kids so that tomorrow we will not have an issue whereby most of the funds that we've generated through oil has dissipated within one generation. I mean, you look at oil in Africa. I call oil the black curse. Why is oil a black curse? We have seen Nigeria. We have seen what has happened in Nigeria. We have seen the few that have benefited in oil whilst the rest of the country suffered. And basically, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia started oil exploration relatively in the same time frame. And if you look at where Saudi Arabia is, albeit their own issues that they have, and you look at Nigeria, you will see that oil hasn't done well for Nigeria. And Gambia doesn't want to go through such a trajectory. So we want to learn from the best practices. If you look at Norway as a country, I mean, they have a great sovereign wealth fund, and most Norwegians are enjoying the benefits of their oil and the oil reserves. I mean, you look at Venezuela, they're doing great. So we need to learn, and once we learn what we can do with this, I think we can do a lot. So having to set up a wealth fund, the government of the Gambia need to have investment priorities. What are our priorities in terms of saving these funds we've gotten out of the sale of oil and few other natural resources that Gambia is endowed with? So going forward, I really do hope that the government of the Gambia will sincerely look into the idea of establishing a sovereign fund. The sovereign fund will have a wealth management team. The wealth management team will work closely hand in glove with the Ministry of Finance and the central bank and see what kind of investment opportunities Gambia is going to expose these monies to. So I'm thanking everyone for listening, and I hope we have learned a thing or two. But let's do one thing. Let's focus our energies towards building a Gambia. Let's focus our energies towards systematically putting this country in the right trajectory. And also, let's make sure that we open the discussion of the things that we want our government to look into. And D will focus his attention on economic governance. Why is economic governance important for D? I believe if we want to go ahead, we need to learn from the mistakes of the past. Mistakes of the past are Gambia hasn't done a good job managing the meager resources it has. And the reason we haven't done that, we had weak institutions and strong men. So economic governance should be at the heart and key of the new Gambia. And for this to happen, we need to put few things in place. So we have spoken about a blueprint. We have spoken about the domestic debt. And now we have taken the opportunity to talk a little bit about a sovereign wealth fund. So basically, this video is just to entice the viewers to understand what a sovereign wealth fund is, and hopefully we can start a debate. Once we start a debate, we can force the government, or we can at least implore on the government to really look into the establishment and creation of a sovereign wealth fund. So on that note, I'll say a great thank you to the viewers, and watch out for our next and subsequent episodes. But like I said, the focus on this take will be economic governance. Thank and God bless.